Hey guys, this is Michael from the Spine Center. If you remember our video last week, we had some problems. And the adapter card that we used to access that RAID has stopped working. Now, it's Monday, and I was expecting to receive this on Thursday, but we got the replacement Thunderbolt 2 card today. So, very happy about that. I'm very excited to get this thing installed and get back to work on some of those bigger projects and get our graphics back. So I'm going to be working on fixing that today, showing you guys kind of my process. I'm sure computer professionals will look at it and be like, what the heck are you thinking? But I've done work on computers before. Hopefully this will go well and I don't have to delete this video because that would be embarrassing. Hopefully showing some close-ups with a GoPro 7 so we can get in there and really see what this is. It has been a little bit of time since I've done computer work like this, but overall the process is pretty simple. I've already shut down the computer. Now this screen is on because this is a Mac Pro that I'm using for other projects. The computer we're working on is the Windows computer right here. So let's start up the GoPro. And it's a GoPro. So I have already shut down the computer. I am going to unplug the power supply because I want to make sure there's no power in there. And a good practice that I learned once is after you've unplugged the power, hit the power button at least once. What that does is it clears out the charge in the computer to decrease the possibilities of problems. This is a pretty cool computer because it has these screws right here, which are very easy to remove and lose. I'm gonna go find that in a few minutes, but I'm gonna be just careful with these on the rest of them. So, and I'm gonna try, I should be able to replace this card pretty easily with just, or I should say without, no, I should be able to replace this card pretty easily without laying the computer down. We're going to see if that works. I'm thinking it will, but if I need to, I'll lay the computer down. It would just involve clearing off a lot more desk space. So in here we have some fantastic graphics cards, which are exactly what we need. And the problem is this Thunderbolt card right here. Here's where I can see this. This Thunderbolt card right here seems to be going bad. So I'm going to unplug the Thunderbolt card, and I'm going to have to go two hands on this because, no, it will be easier if I go two hands on this. One thing to keep in mind whenever you're working on a computer, you want to very much avoid static electricity. So for me, the way I do that is I try to always keep contact with something metal in the computer itself. That is a really good way to get your static charge out of your fingers and into the body. For example, I'm touching the chassis of the computer right now. I'm not touching the motherboard or any of the circuitry. That is a really good way to keep that charge built up. It's a little dirty. I need to get in here and clean some more. But let me see if this is a good view right here. That's not too bad. Using this multi-tool, and I'm gonna need a Phillips head to get this guy out. So, bolts. So I'm keeping my hand on the computer right here, and I'm just going to make sure this is not set to ratchet because I don't want it to ratchet. I am realizing a weakness here. I'm realizing a weakness here in my plan because I really want to make sure I don't lose any screws in the computer. So I'm debating if I want to stop and lay this guy down. It'll make my life easier. So I'll be back in just a minute. I'm going to lay the computer down. Okay, so I have the computer laid down at this point. The troublesome card I'm looking at is this one right here. You can see it's a short card. It's actually a Supermicro add-on card, which it's been a while since I've built a PC, but Supermicro is the maker of the motherboard, and it is also, notice I'm keeping a hand on the body of the computer. It's also a company, I haven't ever heard of expansion cards listed as add-on cards, so that was a little new for me. But I just removed the screw holding it in. I'm going to very carefully pop that card out of the computer. And there is power supply cables provided. Let me look real fast. I don't see any problems with this card, but at the same time that doesn't necessarily mean there's no problems. Let me look at this guy for a second. This is the new card. We have the replacement power supply cable, so I am going to be using the new power supply cable. So, fortunately, it's a pretty easy switch. All these cables are a little janky. Alright, old card is disconnected. Set off to the side. I have to figure out how to get in there to replace the power cable, but that shouldn't be too difficult. I'm replacing the power cable just in case there was something wrong with the power supply that was causing the issues. What happened was our RAID was disconnecting from the computer and then it disappeared altogether. So I initially thought the problem was with the RAID itself, but I spent some time the other day on the phone with G Technology, which they actually were really good in terms of service that I've seen. They were really nice about stuff. This has USB-C, I didn't realize that. Well, I don't know if that's connected. That'd be interesting to do some research on. This cable has to go down into that power supply right there. So that's going to be interesting to get that into, because my hands are not that small. So I'm going to do this very carefully, preferably without touching. Well, the graphics card's pretty well protected. And again, if you're a computer expert and you do this all the time, don't laugh at me. Okay. Power supply is connected. So I'm going to open up the new card very carefully. There's that nice anti-static shell, and I'm going to try and keep my hand touching the metal at all times so I prevent a buildup of static electricity. I studied computer information systems in college, and one of the things one of my professors drove home to us is, everybody knows if you rub your feet on carpets, power supply installed, power line installed. If you rub your feet on carpets, you build up a static charge. And of course you can shock people or shock doorknobs with that. What most people don't realize is they're building up a static charge all the time. Just wearing clothes builds up a static charge. Now, let me see if I can get, I hope that shot is in there and good. Right, don't drop the camera in the computer. I have to seat this card correctly in the board so that it has a chance of working. I'm keeping one hand on the computer, or one hand on the case at all times. Oh, but my professor in college, he pointed out that you're building up static charges all the time, and with the very delicate nature of computer circuitry, you can fry a circuit on a motherboard without realizing you even passed a charge to it, because we're passing charges all the time. Okay, trying to get this card to seat correctly. I have it in the board correctly, but there we go. Bingo. Card is down. I had to play around with this side of it to get it adjusted correctly. Let me put this guy in here. I had to play around with this part of it to get it seated correctly against the board. And now, it's just a matter of replacing the screw, putting it all back together. I did find that piece that I dropped. Powering it on and seeing if it all works. So give me a few minutes and I'll be right back. Okay, I have not fully assembled the computer back or put everything back because I realize this is a really good excuse to actually clean my desk a little bit. But we are about to power on to see if, after I plug in the power supply, to see if what effect this had on the computer. So, I did not reassemble everything yet. That's okay, that's my choice. Alright, the computer itself seems to be working. Let this start up a little bit. It's got a few boot up procedures it goes through. Alrighty then, and let's see. Still not seeing the RAID. That is not good. This is the RAID. It seems to be running. I'm going to try updating the Thunderbolt drivers, so give me a few minutes to do that, and we'll be right back. Victory! So, I installed the card, spent a little bit of time on the phone with Supermicro Systems, talking to tech support, which was interesting on so many levels. But I ended up uninstalling the Intel Thunderbolt driver, which is what they said to do, and downloading the driver from the Supermicro website, which is what the tech support said to do, and it seems to be working. So, I can access the files. You can't see them right now because they're on this screen and not this screen. I have two screens, one's Mac, one's Windows. But I'm excited, it's working. Yay, I can do more stuff again. So, thank you, and we will see you guys on YouTube with some more projects coming soon. Hopefully some